In this video, we're going to take a look at what it actually takes to be a successful real estate investor in Atlanta. And that's coming up right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Living in Atlanta. This YouTube channel is all about what it's like to live, work, and play in Atlanta. And today we're going to talk about working. We're going to talk about real estate investing and flipping homes in Atlanta in a really hot market. So this video is actually a follow-up to a previous one I made a few months back where I followed my friends Hope and Seth as they started their first flip project. Now, the intention behind this video was to give you a peek inside real people's lives as they attempt their first flip. Obviously, there are a lot of shows on HGTV and, they may make it look like it's really easy, like anyone can do it. And it's true that anyone can do it, but I thought it would be really interesting to give you a peek inside some real life people doing a real life first flip. So we're going to show some video of what it looked like a few months back. We're going to look at what it looks like now and talk about some of the lessons learned. So let's get into it. So we have my man Seth here, and we met him in the last video where him and his wife Hope kind of walked us through what the plan was, and now a few months later we actually get to see it come to fruition. So Seth is here. He's going to walk us through the project, show us some of the changes that they ended up making, and just share some insights about how his and his wife first flip has gone. So Seth, yeah, walk us through, man.
For sure, man. Absolutely. So a lot has changed. Our initial plans pretty much completely flipped. It's a whole lot different.
Yeah.
All right. So we ended up opening things up a whole lot more than we had initially planned, which is honestly like a great decision,
So let's walk through real quick and just talk about some of the stuff. So first thing you notice, obviously, is this full bath you put right here.
Yeah.
With the beautiful paneling.
Yeah, so that was actually on Marc's recommendation. So he stressed to us the necessity for tubs. So we did penny tiles on the floor, which I would not do again.
Okay.
Because you have to essentially, when it's such a big area and your ground is uneven, you have to end up floating out the entire floor to make it look perfectly flat. And so it takes a very skilled tiler to make that happen and make it look good. Because you'll see when you think about it now, you'll see ripples in people's penny tile floors when they're big areas. So he did a fantastic job in here. Also, the man is a complete artisan.
Look at this tile.
Absolutely accomplished.
I can't say I've seen that specifically. Yeah, it's really unique. And we'll see you have it on the other bathrooms too, which I love the synchronicity.
Yeah, for sure.
You're doing some floating shelving over here?
Yep, so we're going to do like a built-in type shelving just to give them some extra storage so that they can store like towels and stuff like that.
Yep, very cool.
And then we can go into the
master, right?
Yeah, there it is. Cool, so we're dealing with a relatively, not a massive master.
Yeah, it's a smaller master, which, from the sales side, if you have any challenges, it'll be a slight challenge. Definitely nothing like a deal breaker, but it's a little bit smaller of a master.
So we ended up going with a sliding door. And then in here, we closed off. So I don't know if you remember, but the bathroom was that pink tile. Yeah. And there was a bathtub right here. Yep. Like an old cast iron bathtub. And the doorway was actually right here.
Yep, I remember.
So we closed that off, demoed all that, and we actually took some closet space to make this awesome size shower. So we're just gonna glass this in on Monday, and we'll be ready to rock and roll.
I love how it's in the corner there. It's a nice use of the space.
Mm-hmm. I think they call it a neo corner.
Okay.
I believe. We're just gonna make like small upgrades as well. So like things like this, like the attic ladder, it felt like kind of rickety.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
To be honest, like you can flip homes quick and fast, or you can do them slow and hopefully right. So we chose to do it unintentionally slow, but it will be good.
But intentionally right.
Yeah, and things will be safe.
Yeah.
And that's super important. We made sure to upgrade the wiring so that things are safe. We're putting in USB outlets and tamper-proof outlets. Everything will be up to code. Everything's permitted. So we know that these people will be moving into a safe, happy house. So yeah, everything kind of, we use the same penny tiles, and my wife, Hope, was the one that chose to do the symmetrical, oversized subway tiles, which is pretty rare to see. It's almost like regal. Like I feel like symmetrical tiles can be slightly more luxurious looking, which is interesting for a small shower.
Yeah.
So it does also make the shower seem taller and wider.
It does. It feels like a tall shower for sure.
Yeah, so we had there was like a wall right here, so we demoed that out as well to make sure that they had more space.
Yeah.
So for this one, we're just gonna do a curtain, or kind of let them figure out what they'd like and how they'd like to use the space.
Nice. So this is the guest bedroom with a half bath.
So we did all new doors. So things like that, like doors to me, make a big difference in when you're looking at a listing. I think doors photograph really well.
Yep.
And I think spending money on quality doors pays off.
So what's different about this door? Just this kind of paneling that you have here?
Yeah, it's just an updated style to kind of match the new house, but it's not like too modern.
Yeah.
Because this house isn't a modern home. It's
But it's not that white hanging door you go to Home Depot and
exactly. Buy. Yeah, and these are solid core, I believe. So they have a nice weight to them as well. But yeah, pre-hung doors, they're so much easier.
And so this will essentially be, you were saying, like an office, right? On the bathroom in here. Could work as a bedroom, but could also be a nice office.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because it doesn't have the bathroom, I see it more as an office space, and it's a great size too. And they all have windows and like nice windows too. I love that we were able to keep all of our windows.
Well, this window in particular, I think we all noticed it, and man, it looks good too.
It's just so cool.
It is really cool. There's a ton of light coming in here, and is all you really did essentially just paint this?
Yeah. Scraped it, painted it, and just we gotta make sure it opens. We'll see.
Really cool. Let's look at the kitchen.
Yeah. So we went with.
Oops, sorry about that.
Very good. We went with white shakers. They're approachable, and I think everybody has the ability to enjoy them.
We're going all white with all the cabinets?
Okay. Yeah, so all white over here. So we're going to put hang top cabinets as well, all the way across. And then for the island, we'll have our range and oven right in the middle of the island. We'll do a 7-foot island. And by 3 feet, so it'll be plenty of space for people to eat at if they want, and it's just better to have a little bit more counter space, I think, on an island than less. And
Absolutely.
We're gonna wrap that in paneling and paint it, I think black or maybe this like deep blue over here to kind of match that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very nice. And this will be the laundry room?
Yeah. So we ended up moving the laundry room as well. Once we had all the walls off, all the drywall off, and we just had studs and the ceiling was completely open. We were like, what else could we have done here?
Yeah.
That would have cost the same amount.
Yeah.
And optimized our space.
So maybe planning more after that point. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was literally the catalyst to us deciding to change what our initial plan was just having the walls off and seeing how free we could make it.
Yeah.
We were already putting, because we had that load-bearing rock wall, there was and there was actually an archway right here. We ended up having to put triple LVLs in the ceiling right there. So there's an LVL that runs all the way across to those 2x6s and sits on top of those 2x6s, which will now be the fridge cutout wall.
Yeah.
And then we have another LVL that runs this way and sits on that.
I feel like LVLs make almost anything possible, right?
Yeah, totally.
We're so used to like, is this a load-bearing wall? It's like, yeah, that's okay.
It really is. It really is okay. And the labor is expensive.
Yeah.
The materials aren't crazy.
So this will be kind of like a dining room.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean,
how do you envision it? Tell me.
Yeah. So I think, Hope's the one with the foresight. So I think dining table makes a fair amount of sense either here or right in there.
Yeah.
That's obviously, to me, living room over there.
That's really cool. You know, like, you can plop a dining room table here, and it will look good, and it'll be like a formal dining area. But it's not like these old houses where you have an entire room that if you don't use it as a formal dining, it's just a dead space.
Exactly.
Or if you're the type like, you know, maybe me, where I don't want one, I'd probably just have a little eat-in area here that I'd eat everything at.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, so the world will be their oyster with this little space right here. I think that would be an awesome like bench breakfast nook type area. All right, so as you can see, this home has been completely transformed from what we saw a few months ago. There's been a lot of work done. It's been a lot of time, but it's been well worth it. The changes look absolutely amazing. And that's really important to understand that you're going to have to adapt and adjust according to what kind of challenges come along the way. So let's take a walk around the house with Seth so that he can explain what is currently happening with the home, what changes were made, and what are some of the challenges that they faced on their first flip project.
Let's see what we're working on out here.
So, we obviously started in winter from our last video, and now it is summer. So, the fence has had a chance to set in after we repaired it, pressure washed, painted, and it immediately needed to be painted again, or pressure washed again, because it rained.
Soaked up.
Yeah, it rained right after we painted, and it just splashed mud all over it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's okay, that's easy fixes. And so yeah, so these are actually the rocks from the rock wall.
Oh, very cool. Repurposed.
Yeah, so I wanted to use that so that, I mean, it's something that we had on site that would have cost us money to actually take away.
Right.
So yeah, so I seeded the entire grass, the entire area. We definitely did a ton of cleanup for whoever gets to enjoy this space, and we built them this cool fire pit.
They got some lights hung up here.
Yeah, I strung up some lights. I just wanted people to envision themselves here.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is the stuff that makes spaces interesting and cozy to me. So I wanted to make sure that somebody could see themselves, if they see themselves the way I see myself when I look at a space. I wanted to make sure that they had the ability to do that. That's why we did the fire pit, because we love our fire pit. So we did the string lights because that's what we have at our house that makes us feel like we're at home.
Totally. I feel like it's not an expensive thing, but it really, it just adds an element of uniqueness and just life, I think.
Yeah, and that's something we've realized we need to make sure that we're focusing on is those unique touches. Yeah. That don't cost a lot of money, like the wainscoting, if you will. Super cheap, super quick, but like makes an impact.
So Seth, let's leave off with just, taking in where we started to where we're at now.
Yeah.
What are some of your biggest takeaways that you would impart someone who's going to be going on this journey of a first flip?
I loved the fact that I bought at a price that I was comfortable with, that met my 70% rule, like exceeded it. I was extremely conservative to the point where it was probably unnecessarily frugal with the way that we were able to buy the house, and that was just luck that we were able to get it. But it made me feel that much more comfortable when issues happened, or it's taking us 6-7 months, and we're just sitting on this. Like, it just made me feel better at the end of the day that, like, this isn't going to end up in financial ruin.
Totally.
I didn't way overspend, and the market has completely changed just in those 7 months.
Man, I'm so glad you said that. I really do think that's the biggest lesson anyone can take away from this video. You cannot make up for a bad buy. Like the purchase price, I said in the other video, there's 3 things you have to get right in a flip. It's really not complicated, but there's 3 things you have to get right. The purchase, the rehab, and the sale, the ARV. The ARV is absolutely the easiest. And we know the renovations can swing a little bit, but if you overpay on that acquisition, that's a recipe for a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty, and that's when you get squeezed on the rehab, right? You're not as squeezed on some of this stuff that you had maybe cost more than you thought because you got the price that worked for you.
Yeah, and I've just realized, like, it's not worth putting yourself, especially for your first one, in a stressful situation.
Yeah.
You're already going to be stressed. Everything's new.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know anything about any of this except for the books that I've read.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with my decision to stay conservative with my price and stay with where I was comfortable in an uncomfortable situation.
Totally. Anything else, or was that the main one?
Expect things to take longer.
Sure.
And I would say, like, I feel like we're still adapting to this, but issues are going to happen. And I've realized I've been taking a lot of these issues very personally. And at the end of the day, like, it's okay to take it personally because that means that I care.
Yeah.
But, it's not worth stressing myself out over, like, a very small issue.
Yeah. A little money, a little time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would say be ready for those. Like, there's going to be $5,000 problems.
Sure.
There just is.
Yeah.
The inspector is going to come in and it'll cost you $3,000.
Yeah.
So just know that going in and don't let it bug you. As long as you've bought correctly, within your level of comfort, then it'll be okay.
Yeah.
In worst case, we can rent it out. And hopefully we'll be able to pay the mortgage. And
well, what another great point, because again, because of the price you bought it at, you could worst case scenario rent it out and probably be pretty covered on your mortgage.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Seth. Great job. And thanks for letting us take a peek behind the curtains.
Of course, man.
So let's get real about some of the challenges that they faced, because I really want to pull back the curtain so that you can have a realistic understanding of some of the challenges that you may face if you're going to do your first flip. And the number one thing I would say is probably time. And Seth mentioned that, but this has taken much longer than they anticipated for a couple reasons. So first, you have the permitting process, which obviously you only have so much control over. And in Atlanta right now, it's typically 2 to 3 months to pull the permits you need to do a project like this. So when you're making your estimates for, from the time that you purchase to when you're going to sell, you want to be very conservative and give yourself much more time than you even think you may need. The other reason it's taken so long is because the contractors, right? And we all know that contractors can help you knock it out of the park, or they can absolutely cripple you. Now, luckily, Hope and Seth did a great job of vetting many contractors before they decided who they wanted to work with. But even in that case, they like the contractors, but they take longer than they wanted to. Even if you incentivize them with more money to work more quickly, they simply, especially in this market, have too much going on, too many jobs that they're trying to service at the same time. So that is going to be a big delay potentially for you. You never want to go by exactly what the contractor is telling you, because it's always going to be a little bit longer. Now, one of the smartest and most beneficial things that Hope and Seth did was they did a lot of the work on this home themselves. Now, they are very handy, they have experience with some of this stuff, and it saved them a ton of money. But even if you don't have that type of experience, there is a lot of labor that you can do personally that'll save you a ton of money. Think demo, think painting, think landscaping. These are things that pretty much anyone can do, that it's one less thing you have to pay a subcontractor to do. So while they were waiting for all the permits and before the contractors could actually get to work, they were doing demo, they worked on the fence, they worked on painting the house. So they did a lot of that work that saved them money because they didn't have to pay someone to do it. But I also want to talk about what went right, because honestly, y'all, a lot went right on this project. And a lot of it has to do with Hope and Seth being really diligent and making great decisions. But a lot of it is just kind of the luck of where the market has headed over the last 4 to 6 months. So originally, when they acquired this, we had an ARV. We were expecting to be able to sell it for around $315,000. And those would have been fantastic margins and still would be good margins for Hope and Seth. Well, obviously, you may or may not know, the market in many cities, and especially Atlanta, has gone through the roof. And there's a massive shortage of inventory. So just the basic supply and demand problem has increased the ARV, what we anticipate to sell this property for. Probably, we haven't made any final decisions yet, but we are well within the 365 to 395 area. Okay, that is a big difference. And that's not a stretch, okay? I'm not a realtor who puts things on the market above what the market says they're worth. Those are conservative numbers that are going to get us an offer on the first weekend. And I'm very confident of that, not only because the comparable sales are there. So as they have been working on this, homes right around this area have sold for $385, for $395, which is really just a dream come true. If you're working on a flip project and you get a great sale in your neighborhood, that justifies a higher sales price for your flip. But also, and we already talked a little bit about this, all of the unique touches they're doing. I've said this in so many videos. I see the same house all the time around Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, very similar homes, in many cases with not much character. This house is pretty unique, just with some of the touches. You know, we have the dark navy, almost black exterior paint. You know, you've seen some of the wainscoting, really interesting layout, interesting tile work in the bathrooms, and there's gonna be some other nice touches, but you know, they really care. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that update to flipping for real in Atlanta. I'm really excited about this project. I am gonna follow up in a few weeks, maybe a month, when we're getting ready to list. I'm gonna do, of course, one of my walkthrough video tours for the new listing, and I'll probably do a follow-up video after it's sold just to talk about where we came out on things after everything was said and done. But very excited and proud of my friends Hope and Seth for absolutely crushing it on this. And you can do this, okay? It requires you educate yourself, you network and partner with people who are doing what you want to be doing, and it requires being very conservative and paying close attention to the numbers that you're working with. And you have to be prepared for changes. You have to be prepared to take some losses, to roll with the punches, but you can do it. People are actually doing it, and it's not just hedge funds or big builders or, you know, rich real estate investors. You can do this if you have a 9-to-5 or whatever your situation is. It is possible, and hopefully these videos have given you some information to make it easier for you to be successful. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.